Catching up on all things Gamescom. Kyle's been diving headfirst into Arco, and I've been suffering from a new addiction this week. All this and so much more coming on this episode of the Download Queue. What's going on, everybody? It is August 26th. As mentioned, episode 32 of the Download Queue, your new favorite place for all things gaming. In case you don't know, usually record each and every Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but it's Monday today. We don't talk about it. Things happen. Life happens. You catch us always at twitch.tv/Badlands Backlogs, as well as Badlands Backlogs on YouTube. Kyle, how in the heck are you doing on this beautiful Monday afternoon?
I'm doing great, and I'll talk about it. I have a daughter, and I was taking care of her. So if you're complaining out there, shut up.
He's being an adult.
Yeah.
Well, we're
But no,
playing
it's
video games.
great. Exactly. Yeah. No, great to be talking to you again, especially after the last week. Gamescom, ton of news, ton of excitement, and we're both playing some good games. I know that.
Yeah, it's been a good week. There's, as usual, ups and downs, but overall, like, this week, based off of what we're playing and everything, it just good vibes all the way around. Good overall feelings in the industry. Where do you want
Unless you
to?
were looking forward to Outlaws.
Oh God, yeah.
It's all over the place, it seems. I just finished listening to Kind of Funny Gamecast when they talked about it, and man, I'm not picking it up. I don't have the money. I was always skipping it for now. But man, Outlaws, it just seems all over the place and just not fully like baked, but also at the same time, some people are loving it. So it's one of those games. I'm disappointed because it's on my Fantasy Critic. I was really hoping to get, plus 80 Metacritic, maybe 90. It's below 80, so oh well. This year is lost for me in Fantasy Critic, I think.
That's interesting to hear because I've earlier this morning seeing the early reviews come out. I even tweeted. I honestly was getting slightly higher than I was expecting. Like I went in with a more downward approach to it, and seeing the couple eights and stuff it was getting was a surprise. Yeah, it's interesting to hear. Kind of funny didn't go well. I haven't listened to that myself, obviously, so we'll have to catch up.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Outlaws is a game that is, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, you might not like it at all. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just sad for my Fantasy Critic.
You had
I was really hoping this might.
77.
I know, but like I was thinking this could be a surprise. Like I wanted 80 plus. I'm behind, so it is what it is.
Yeah, this is also on my backlog list eventually. If Astrobot wasn't coming out so soon, I feel like I'd be more inclined to try and jump into this sooner than later, but as mentioned, money is tight, and money is going to Astrobot, because I love that little guy.
Fair.
And we're like 2 weeks away.
Yeah, that one's close, and they're only talking about Concord.
Only talking about Concord. But shout out to that game, and being the little engine that could, or couldn't, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, this weekend's been interesting just seeing the Steam numbers and such. But I mean, we played the beta. I really enjoyed it. It's in a weird spot. I think $40 isn't that much, but is the game are the servers gonna be open long enough for me to be like, yeah, well worth $40? I don't know. So I'm hoping it gets a little more life, and they just invest in it and just let it breathe. We're looking at like Sea of Thieves on the Xbox side, which got it was like, it came out, it's cool. And now what is it, like 6-7 years? Is that
For development?
Sea of Thieves it came out on Xbox, and now it's on another platform, right? And people are loving it. So if you let the game breathe and live and get an audience, like, I don't think Concord's over, but this is just not a great start, of course. But it's a bummer because I think it is fun to play. I just don't see a lot of reason to keep playing. And I don't see a reason for people to like jump in and buy it when you don't know how long it's going to last.
No, and I don't want to use the word dire, but as you mentioned, Steam numbers, that's barely pushing 700-800 people. Not even broke 1,000, I don't think so. It also doesn't help
didn't.
that Valve decided to open up their playtests and game for Deadlock, which also just kind of took over everything on Steam. So
yeah, and then like Wukong, I think that is
yeah,
Black Myth. That's what I was like. That's not the name of it. Black Myth Wukong, I mean, they sold 10 million copies. Again, a lot of the players are in China, which is awesome to see. But I mean, people are playing that too. Play a single player game or play a multiplayer game that you're not sure about. So I think there's a lot around it that makes sense. Still, you don't want to see those numbers.
No, and as I mentioned before, it sucks because it is their first outing for that studio, and I'm scared of either the backfire they're going to get or how this affects them in the long term. Because to come out with such a big swing as your first go around and have it miss so incredibly hard, like I said, it's up to Sony on how they want to handle it and what they want that team to do in the future. And yeah, I wish them all the best moving forward.
Yeah. I think it's sooner rather than later. We'll see it in PS Plus, but that might be like the sign. So we'll see.
With that, where do you want to start off today, friend? You want to start on some news? You want to start on some games?
Isn't the news about the games?
Negative news. What games we're playing?
No, let's talk about the news first.
Let's talk about news.
Then we'll end up. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, mostly as mentioned, all Gamescom. Opening night live last week. Jeff Keighley still absolutely doing his thing. Still not a fan of his presentations. I'm sorry, but it's on the verge of like the kind of cringy stuff you don't want to like show people you're watching. Before we dive in, we did get to look forward to release date for the Game Awards this year, which will be Thursday, December 12th. So something to look forward to. Content around that as we get closer to the date.
I have to decide if I want to try to go or try to like stream it. We'll think about it.
Go.
I'm in the area.
Need
I know, right?
Physical, in the moment.
You're right. All right, you convinced me, honey. If you're watching, mark it on the calendar. We're going out
Thursdays for reasons. So yeah, tons of announcements. Let's start with Starfield because I feel like that's for you probably one of the bigger things. We finally got a release date for the DLC, or release date was out for the DLC, right? Just another.
No, they announced the release date with this trailer for the vehicle that they added to Starfield that night. That was cool. The trailer for the REV8, the land vehicle, the car in Starfield. That trailer was like a car commercial. I loved it. And then the release date for Shattered Space, September 30th, which is my birthday, which means
is it? Yay!
It's 2 today, and that means do I stream Starfield? I was thinking about doing a birthday stream, but it wasn't Starfield, so now I'm like, shoot. So we'll see, but I will be playing it because I am so down for more Starfield story content, especially after a whole year. This is a year removed from release. They had all the updates and all the feedback and everything that people have been talking about. They added a vehicle because people were like, we don't want to walk. We need a car. And they did it. And the vehicle is so fun. It is wild. It's just silly. You could drive anywhere. You're driving around cities, New Atlantis. You're driving around Paradiso on the beaches. You're jumping up. Vasco's in the back, arms spread. It's fun. It is cool. I didn't play more than an hour of it because the game crashed on my Series S the day it launched. But but also I'm just not playing Starfield. But it's this is what they were kind of saying Starfield was going to be. They're going to continuously update it. It's not done. Just like Fallout wasn't done when it released. Just like Skyrim got released billions of times. It wasn't done. Yeah, Starfield is a sandbox for them, and I'm excited to see what Shattered Space is, because they said it's similar or kind of in scope similar to Far Harbor, and that was my favorite expansion out of Fallout 4. I just love the aesthetics and the whole vibe of going off and doing this like detective mystery story in this cloudy, Maine coastal town. Oh, I loved it. So now going into the Varun homeworld and discovering what the Varun are in Starfield, because there's just this race that is gone. They're no longer involved, but now they're coming back. I'm excited.
Yeah, because really only got the one sort of quest line with them in the main story, right?
Yeah, it like touches on them. Andrasia, one of the companions, is from is a Varun, so like there's stuff there, but yeah, we don't know enough about them yet, so.
And this may be
But, yeah, I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I would say that like, and the environment just looks cool. Like I'm excited about just the different stuff they're doing with that. Like this image that you have up, just that looks cool, and I'm excited to see what the zone fully is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this hits for people either returning to the game that Starfield didn't grab them initially, or people coming in for the first time, because it does seem to be the way they talk about it more akin to a Fallout 4 style or an Elder Scrolls style where it takes place on one singular planet and let them do more honed in, cohesive storylines and really focus in on specific areas and build them out, which for me personally was like a lacking thing with the original game. Yeah, you have all these open areas, but it felt empty a lot. So having all this concentrated in one area, I hope that brings back sort of the charm I was missing personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like New Atlantis being one of the main big cities of the United Colonies, it feels empty, right? It feels small. Like you can walk around everywhere, but it's like I don't need to walk into every single thing. You can still add scale and like keep us out of things, but that gets hard too. It's not the game that Bethesda makes, so there's some like you gotta kind of suspend your belief for a little bit when playing sometimes. But yeah, I like the fact that this is a smaller zone. They're making it with that intention. Uh, Hopefully, it feels a little more alive.
And if you were one of the people when Starfield first came out that bought the early access expansion pass, whatever, this will be included in it in case you forgot. And this will also
I forgot.
you
I
forgot.
forgot.
There you go.
I kind of was just like, it's in Game Pass. It's not. It's not.
No, DLC, yeah, it's a separate thing. But a lot of people did that early access back in the day, so yeah, they probably
Yeah, I
don't
did.
know this is coming. And it'll also be my first time jumping back in since Mod Sport happened. So kind of get a little bit of everything new that they've added once this drops next month.
Oh, that's gonna mess up all the mods, though.
I don't say that.
It's going to, though.
No.
They're gonna do a big update to like the base and everything. You'd hope so. I do wonder if the expansion, like they said, the stories contain the worlds, like it has its own, like A through Z. You play it right, and it's on that area. I wonder what, if anything, is going to be added to the game as a whole. What will bleed out of this expansion, and if anything, will affect and change the Starfield world as it is, or how separate is this? But knowing Fallout 4 and especially Far Harbor, like yeah, I don't expect it to affect too much outside of like you know, um, stability stuff and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to mostly focus on just the new planet, those storylines, and go from there. I don't think we're getting any other quarterly or monthly updates that they've been doing included with it. Especially with it being a DLC, like it is just something you would buy off the marketplace back in the day. Like it's not like a regular update you would expect. We also got announcement for Borderlands 4, which cool. Didn't really grab me. I am about Borderlands out right now. Um, I did find it weird because this was one of the things, if you remember, back when we were doing around E3 time, 2K was teasing a new entry in one of their biggest franchises, whatever, and that turned out to be Civ.
Oh yeah, it did. Don't say it like that.
No, they turned out to be Civ, but then they turned around at Gamescom and announced Borderlands 4, which is the other one people were guessing.
Well, they got that Jeff money, baby.
Got that Jeff money. And also announced the next Mafia game, which was also what people were kind of guessing back earlier this year.
Yeah, they just weren't ready to. Those trailers weren't ready yet.
No,
I'm not a Borderlands person. I've tried. I just it's not. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't connect with me. So, the trailer was like, okay, cool. Of course, there's a Borderlands 4. But I do think what's interesting about it is the art style. It seems to be a little different. So we'll see if that's like, and the fact that it looks and sounds like they're not on Pandora anymore. So that's like something that can interest me if it's like almost like a soft reboot that not like story wise, but like resets kind of what it is. I know there's a lot of complaints over the farming stuff in Borderlands and such. I saw people kind of talk about what they want out of Borderlands 4. So we'll see. I mean, this could be a cool, like, kind of revitalizing of the series, especially after the movie, because I don't think the movie got people interested at all.
No,
But
and
I don't know.
that's
This game will have to convince me to play it.
the
But like,
timing of
man,
the
the trailer with
announcement.
like this, it looks so cool. Like tearing open this like shield thing and like exposing this like thing inside. Very cool cinematic trailer, and not at all the the art style of Borderlands in the past, at least so far.
No, yeah, cell shading is all but gone. This looks just like a regular. I don't want to say regular because that sounds bad, but a more
But more true to
mainline
life.
art style. Yeah.
Yeah, here's
There's
hoping they kind of that'd be fun. I would it would get me interested, which is silly because it's just a visual thing. But hopefully it wouldn't just be visual and kind of mixing it up. Mafia, have you played any of those games? Because I have not.
I dabbled in the second one way back when that came out. I've been meaning to revisit them with remasters and stuff recently because I feel like it would be something I should like. Um, this one honestly feels like it would be a good starting point for me too, just because it is further back. It's storyline wise set before all the other ones, so the normal. Do I have to play the rest to understand what's going on? No, this is the main starting point for the whole franchise. As far as I'm aware, this ties in character bloodlines to the older games, so there is still that thread going in between. But yeah, this is very old, 1800s, whatever. December 20th of this year, we'll get another deep dive trailer. So I'm interested. It could be something dive into. It really depends on when it comes out. Because already next year is insanely stacked. And with a GTA clone like this coming out the same year GTA 6 could be coming out, like, it'll be
Oof.
interesting to see how this lands. Or if people even care when it gets time, which sucks to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see a Mafia Definitive Edition they added to Game Pass recently, which kind of makes sense with the announcement of this game now. So I don't know. I've been looking for a game to jump into, and I've been trying a lot of things. I might end up trying it, but who knows? I just am not in the. I don't think I'm in a mood for that type of game. I do love the vibe of what this trailer kind of shows. It's just a teaser, though, and like, I mean, this just feels like Mafia, you know?
Yeah, it was a lot of Gamescom in general was a lot of teasers, and you had your couple big reveal trailers, which we'll get into later. But a lot of it was, yeah, just this is what we're doing. Have a quick thing because this costs us $100,000 to get up here. But Jeff
I
got
know, isn't that?
Jeff got to make his money.
Apparently, I mean, hey, it costs a lot of money, but does it need to? That's a whole different conversation, though.
Yeah. Genshin Impact, for those of you into the gotcha games from Hoyoverse, is finally coming to Xbox on November 20th of this year.
I cannot wait.
Is that sarcasm or actually like you into this?
No, I have no. I have
Okay.
never played it. I figured that would confuse you.
I was about to say, I was like, you're not the Japanese weeb type.
No, I was surprised that like it wasn't on Xbox yet. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, good. Hey, games go everywhere.
What I'm more surprised about when I was looking into this, excuse me if I get the year wrong, but this was also announced for the Switch back in like 2019. Still hasn't happened.
Well, they're waiting for Switch too.
So,
Come on, man.
6 years ago.
Pandemic. Give them a break.
Pandemic. So yeah, we're getting the Xbox.
Everyone gets
release.
2 years.
Yeah, getting the Xbox announcement and release before we get it on Switch. Marvel Rivals, our favorite hero shooter. That's some
Did you
people
play it?
No, I.
Oh, okay. I haven't played it either.
Uh,
How is it our favorite then?
because it's Marvel. Feige wants our money. They
It's fair.
announced
It's fair.
all heroes will be free to play for the game's life, which is what I said they should do a few weeks ago to give that any chance of surviving. Again, Overwatch killing it. Deadlock now is blowing up Steam, so good luck to them. Uh, Little Nightmares 3 got a new trailer, which I absolutely loved. And then right after or right before, the original Little Nightmares team announced their new project, Reanimal, which having those on the same night, very close together, was super funny to me. But this looks awesome. If you have missed this trailer, Reanimal is 2D, very similar to Little Nightmares style. It tells the story of an orphaned brother and sister trapped in hellish version of the island that used to be their home. Embark on a quest to rescue their three friends. It's a violent world of gloomy forests and decimated buildings where empty bags of skin hang from trees and hideous animalistic creatures roam. It's also the aiming for a darker and grittier tone compared to Little Nightmares, which already those were pretty on that level. So if they double down on that with this, good spooky game, good October game. Except that guy in
Yeah,
the
I've
bike.
never.
I'm not about that.
No, there's a lot in this I'm not about. I haven't played Little Nightmares. I have played Inside, and I know that's like I just like visually what I'm seeing. I like the 2D side scroller stuff. You know, they're in the same vein, right? So it's interesting. I is it worth it to go back to a Little Nightmares type game, or is it like nah, just wait till Reanimal maybe?
I would recommend at least giving the first one a shot. If it doesn't grab you within an hour and a half, like not much of that's gonna change. What you see up front is very much what you get, and it just kind of expands on it. So you will know very quickly
Uh,
if it's something you want to stick with. Um,
that makes sense.
like I said, it's funny that Tassier Studios wanted to go do something else, and that kind of caused them to break away from the IP and give it to, I believe it's oh, what is their name? Dark Pictures people. Um,
Super massive? No.
yeah, I think they have the IP for Little Nightmares now. Yeah, yeah. Supermassive is developing Little Nightmares 3.
Yeah. Well, I do think like, hey, you need to make the titled sequel number 3, you know, to your game, and they're like, no, we have a different idea. I get getting away from the name. Like Little Nightmares 3 has to be something that Reanimal wouldn't have to even touch, right? So I get that, and who knows behind the scenes like other
Mm-hmm.
bill, political stuff going on, you know?
Politically.
Yeah, I didn't like saying political. It sounds gross.
Uh, also from Supermassive. They get a new Dark Pictures announced as well. Directive 8020, which, as far as I'm aware, is a PlayStation exclusive, console exclusive.
No
Coming,
way. No way. I missed that.
I believe. I haven't
Eh,
seen an Xbox trailer yet for it. We'll have to do some deep dives. But it's very. It gives me.
it's on Xbox.
Is it okay? It gives me Prey vibes. Like it's their typical horror stuff, but there is shape shifting and this creature thing in space that may or may not be evil. Kind of looks like a human at times, but also looks like a monster at times. So we'll see. Have you done any of the Dark Picture games? I've dabbled in the
How dare you?
second
You
one, I
watched me on
believe.
stream.
Oh yeah.
How dare you? It's okay. That was like one of the first games I streamed this
Wait,
year,
yeah.
I think.
It's been a
Yeah, I
long
did
year.
Little Hope, and I've also played. I played another one of them, I think. Yeah, I like these games. I missed like Until Dawn. I didn't play that when it came out, and at my last job place we lived, one of my coworkers were playing it, and there was like 6 people like playing it with him and such, and that's really fun. So once I finally dove into it, I streaming Little Hope. I was like, these games are really fun, especially when you're like doing it with people or even just your significant other. It could be a lot of fun to make those choices. So I am really like looking forward to this one. There's something about sci-fi and space that I'm more into. Just coming off reading a novel, "To Sleep in a Sea of Stars," which gets into some uh, interesting like alien hive mind, like anyways stuff, and it's like, ooh, hold on, like I'm kind of seeing echoes of that within this trailer, and that gets me very interested. So this is something I am definitely going to be checking out and picking up eventually, no matter what.
And that will be 2025, I believe, is all we got for that.
Yeah, that's all they said, which is a little bit of a bummer because
Uh
that probably means it's next October,
oh yeah, you would assume if they were given
or
a
it's like
closer
early,
date.
but I would assume yeah.
Arc Raiders showed up again. Again with a 2025 release window, nothing else. This was announced back in 2021 uh, from a bunch of original Battlefield developers. It is a PvPvE style game where you are a space soldier fighting for survival and scavenging resources from the world's surface in an attempt to extract safely to underground colonies. So, kind of an extraction, go out, get what you can. Constant mobs, kind of like Helldivers, I would imagine, but other players as well who can kill you and take all your stuff. And machines trying to stop you. So, I'm interested to see more. This kind of grabbed my attention years back, but it's honestly slipped my mind since because it's been so long. And again, it's just adding on to a stack 2025. So I'll be interested. If they can get the Battlefield name across, I feel that could help, especially with where Battlefield proper is currently. Could give it a push. So we will see.
This looks like a Concord clone.
Are we going off the art style or like the theming? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. No, I haven't heard about this game until Gamescom, and I was like, cool trailer. It just seems like there's so many games that are similar. So until we see more, until it really gets people, it's just like cool trailer.
Cool indeed. You know what else was cool trailer? Goat Simulator Remastered, Kyle.
It was a very good trailer.
It was very good. It hit on all your memes. I don't know why Goat Simulator needs remastered, but it's coming to you. Coming to a console near you.
Yep.
Big one for me, because I guess this was announced before and just completely skipped my mind or I've missed it. Secret Level.
No, this was a surprise, I think, for the majority of people. I think there might have been like hints at like Prime working within this, or like maybe we've heard announcements of like, oh, they're doing this or that. It's like, no, this was a surprise for I think the majority of people. And holy cow, this looks amazing. Amazon Prime, like their studios and their team behind that, like they're making some really good content.
Yeah.
Not that this has come out yet, but it looks fantastic.
It's soon though, December 10th, 2 days before Game Awards. For those who are just first hearing about this is from the creative team behind Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots series. This will be a 15-episode series, which will premiere December 10th. Each episode will feature or be based off of a different game / IP / idea, essentially. The 15 stories in season 1, which them using season 1 gets me excited because if this blows up and gets a season 2 and gets bigger mainstream popular games, could be crazy. We're looking at Armored Core, Concord, wild. Crossfire, also wild. Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World, Pac-Man, PlayStation one that just has a mixture of characters. We see Kratos in the trailer, Jin from oh my god.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, yes, thank you. Sifu, Spelunky, which has to be hyped, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40k will all be featured and have their own episodes. I'm curious to see if it's these episodes are going to be like a full like hour-long thing and it has its own contained story, or will there be like an interweaving thread between all of them that kind of ties everything together and why it's a series, or if it's just going to be here's your own hour-long thing, enjoy, have fun.
If anything, I hope they're connected only by a Dark Pictures like curator. I forget what his name is in that. The actor recently passed away, which is super sad and unfortunate. So thoughts out there to that, their family. But if you had someone who just kind of introduced it, and like loaded up a secret level, it's like, let's dive into the secret level for Concord, and then that's the game, and like, like there's ways to do that. I wouldn't want like a what if style connectivity where they all meet up at the end. I think what is so awesome about this and like what's exciting is we can tell concise, specific stories within these worlds. I mean, and such without worrying about does it make sense. I mean, the Pac-Man one is I don't know how they're gonna do that, but I don't know. It just I hope it's not all connected. I want it to be separate individual things. I want the lengths to be whatever they need to be, not you have to hit X amount. And maybe they're probably all within the 50 to an hour mark, but even if one's like 30, 20, it's like if it's a tight thing and it makes sense for that property, cool. Like I'm all down for that. Um, I'm looking forward to this. Have you watched Love, Death and Robots?
I have not.
Because that's the studio or the team that's making this.
Yeah, I have not. It's on my watch list. As I mentioned before, I finally have time to watch TV, so I've slowly been working through a few series. That's still on it. I've recently finished a few, so I can start moving on to new things. And this definitely moved that up to probably something I'm starting next just to get it out of the way before this drops.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched it either, but I know what it is, and I just haven't committed to watching it yet. But yeah, I do think it's going to be all separate stuff. But I'm excited, and honestly, the Concord one, I think like what if that builds on or ties into the weekly cutscenes that they're doing? I mean that's you wouldn't want to price like if you buy the game but you don't have Amazon Prime, you can't watch this episode. But if it's in a similar art style, or it's just all those cuts, I don't know. It could build upon the world, and all of a sudden, by December, people are like, "Oh, I want to go play Concord now." Like, that's a really cool like episode in this world. I can go play the game right now. I don't know. That gives me hope that PlayStation is giving Concord a long enough leash, a long enough lifespan to at least get to December and a little after.
Oh yeah, because you would imagine that was done at least a year ago, minimum, to get featured in this.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously plans changed, but if they were putting that much bank on it back then, like, you would hope they have something, and maybe this is part of where their marketing went, was to stuff like this instead, and hoping it had that initial life to last, 4 months? Yeah, till this comes out, which is a ballsy move, but
for sure. Yeah, it's going to be real interesting now for Concord in that episode, though.
Be exciting.
December
10th, season 1.
Yeah, I'm sad like Destiny didn't get in this. There's been hints and rumors and maybe cancellations of Destiny media property entertainment stuff like a movie or TV show, but something like this, just tell me the story of the Battle of Six Fronts. You know, where there were 5, the whole city was surrounded and there were 6 fronts for the battle and they had to defend it, and just give us the stories of all the heroes that we just walk up to and talk to, and that's all they do, or maybe they're in a fancy cutscene at the end of the 10-year story. But like, give me like the past, like it's right there, so perfect. So I'm hoping season 2 can get some Destiny stuff, hopefully. But man, I've been waiting for a Destiny thing like that.
That's what I'm saying. The season.
What do you think the PlayStation thing is going to be?
I don't know. I almost like in my head. I hope it's just like a weird PlayStation All Stars type episode, because that would be sick. I was trying to grab the frame, but in the quick montage, there's a scene of Kratos like in full gear, standing in like a metropolitan city street, like in current times almost. So that has me interested, and then also having Jin in there, like combining all of those in one thing, like just give me like a 35-40 minute cool battle thing between all of them. That'd be sick.
That sounds like not that cool.
What?
Not just having
action,
like
John Wick style PlayStation fights. Oh,
I don't care that Kratos can beat up Ratchet and Clank. I don't care. Of course he can. I don't care. What's the premise? If it's just Battle World and it's PlayStation people, all right, whatever. That's cool. It sounds like more of a marketing thing to me. What's the story? What's the purpose? Like, why are they here? It looks like the old Xbox ads of like feel the game, or power your dreams, and they like fall into the world.
PlayStation used to do that too. They would all be drinking in a bar.
I know,
buddy,
but
buddy.
I don't need a television episode about it. That's a commercial. I'd rather have like, I don't know, Kratos is fighting some other pantheon of gods.
But you gotta save that for the game.
That's true. Yeah, they're going to Egypt next.
Yeah. That'd be good. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's the one I'm most interested in because it doesn't get me interested if you're saying like all the PlayStation properties are in one episode. It's like, do they each get a vignette? Are they all working together? It goes back to like I don't want all these stories to be connected. Like I'd be much more interested in a epilogue, a prelude to whatever happens in Ghost of Tsushima, right? With Jin Sakai, or what if Jin was this way, like an alter ego, like a what if the type thing. That makes a little more sense, but I don't know. We'll see.
see that's
They
the
don't
one
really
I
tell us a lot about
feel
it.
like it'll be the hardest to without like making it feel like it's kind of thrown together because of how wildly different their IPs are. Because yeah, we got like those two characters for now, but like, is Joel randomly gonna show up in this? Is I don't know, the girl from Returnal randomly gonna show up in this? Like, those are so wildly different things. Where if you only have like an hour long time frame to explain why they're even interacting together, like off the top of my head, I'm not creative, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a reason they would. So
Yeah, I'm trying to see how long Love, Death, and Robots episodes were. Because I don't know, an hour. That seems kind of long to me. But either way, we'll see. Kind of agree with that.
not long to wait. So give me more good video game TV shows.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm seeing like 13 minutes.
what? Oh, so yeah, Death
Yeah.
13-minute fight thing. Hell yeah.
Yeah, see, that's way more interesting if it's just like a commercial for all the PlayStation people and they're fighting. And you know what? You know what's going to suck is when they start announcing games that are tied to what these come off of. A big PlayStation Brawler episode, and then the next day, at the Game Awards, PlayStation All Stars featuring everything you just saw in this
Bro,
episode. Shut up.
PlayStation All Stars was great. I would
I
kill
never
for a
played it.
second one. Outside of their weird character choices that made zero sense, it was good.
Yeah, so they're like short, like 15, 20-minute episodes of stuff with some really good, solid, like really strong animation. So I think that's closer to what we're going to see. It'll be interesting. That makes a lot more sense to me with
Yeah,
what this show is
that
going to be now.
drastically changes how you look at it. Because that makes a lot of the other ones make sense too. Like Sifu, cool. Japanese Jackie Chan type thing going on. Spelunky do like a horror thing, like diving, mining thing going on. Like that makes a lot more of these make sense. Armored Core, just
Yeah,
Gundam style episode, like
the Mega Man looks real cool.
yeah, good times. Uh,
Well, that's December.
that's December. Further out from that,
What up?
we got Dune.
Dune.
Dune. Got a big gameplay reveal. How are you feeling on this? Because you've been keeping up with this. This has been one of your anticipated things. Happy with what you saw? Happy with what they showed?
Oh yeah, like I'm still interested in it. It definitely comes across more intense in a way of a MMO type thing. There are some questions I have about like, is it always like, is it like a World of Warcraft MMO, or is it more like I could play by myself and not always run, like more like a Destiny type thing,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't, you know what I mean by that. Uh, because there's some of the systems like the deep desert, it resets. Like that's the PvP zone once the sandstorm comes in and such. So there's questions like that I still have, but overall I'm interested in this still. Um, I like how, I mean, the survival aspects are cool. Um, and it seems like there's a lot of different like choice in how you want to play and such. And I wonder though, is it how much is it like, oh, if I don't spec into like this area, I'm gonna be struggling. I'm gonna have to like do other things, you know. So we'll see. Still very interested into it.
Yeah, I'll say before Gamescom, I was this was gonna pass me by completely. This trailer and sort of deep dive, honestly, I don't want to use excited, but I'm interested now. Like I'll be keeping an eye on what they announce from here on out type. Um, because yeah, at first when we talked about it before, it very much in my mind was coming across as like an arc or a rust type thing, something like that, where it's always online, but like people messing with your bases, taking your stuff when you're offline, something you like physically keep in touch and keep up to date with regularly. And this, yeah, it made it more grounded as far as what you're doing, crafting, how building works, exploration. Like it really laid out your gameplay steps and what you'll be doing when you log on type, and it has me more excited than I was. Still need to watch the movies. I need to get caught up. So
What? You haven't watched it?
no, first or the second one or the old ones because I don't watch old movies.
No, I didn't expect you to say you watched the old ones, but not the new one. That'd be crazy. You're like, I haven't watched them, but I love the old ones. Um, yeah, hey, maybe we'll hop in together because it's early 2025, which is a decent time, I think, for it. But we'll
Yeah, is that
see.
early 2025 release or like a beta? Are they doing a beta testing open period?
It says release window of early 2025. I would assume they're in the next month or two. We'd be like seeing maybe early access slash play testing, whatever they want to do. Maybe it's closed or open. Who knows? But I would assume that's when we see it. Maybe Game Awards announcement
I was gonna say I can see that being a Game
of
Awards
here, go
thing.
play this. You can play this later. Yeah, like go sign up for the beta now. Releases next week, and then it'll close in time for a spring release. So we'll see. I mean, they have. Hey, people want to be. I think the world of Dune is good enough where having something like, what if Paul Atreides didn't exist, and that's where you start. That's so interesting. That it has nothing to do with the movies anymore, though, right? Is that right? But it's still going to be interesting because the world is so strong, and I like that angle of it, and I'm hoping it hits.
Yeah, I almost think in my mind it's smarter to not directly tie in with the movies because then it does
Oh,
lead
100%.
it leads that example of like, oh, it's not following the story, whatever. Like, let things build out the world further away from what you've seen already. Like, let them build the lore and build out more of the back end stuff and world building and do their own thing.
And I do like how the character they show is not Timothy Chalamet, but maybe if he was older. And there's definitely not Dave Batista on the poster, but is it?
It's not
Yeah,
Timothy
there
Chalamet, it's Tim Chalamet.
is Tim Shal. Tim, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, looks cool. Like I said, I'm more interested than I was a week ago.
I'll get you into it, and then when WoW comes to console, I will play WoW with you.
God,
We'll see though. This game might actually still not be good.
see, there's always a chance.
They are showing the hell out of it though, because didn't its premiere at Game Awards last year?
Last year, or even earlier than that,
Yeah, like so they're taking their time with it. They're getting it. Hopefully that's a good sign and not, hey, we're kind of development hell type thing.
this
But
may come out sometime. Who knows?
who knows?
But yeah, that was majority of Gamescom. There are some other smaller announcements to look up. Definitely a lot of variety. I came out of it more happy than I was going in. I kind of downplayed Gamescom the week before, and it showed up this year. I was pleasantly surprised. Uh, also
Yeah,
shout
you have
out.
to think workflows are finally, hopefully, getting back to normal post COVID, and I mean layoffs. Actually, we're gonna get back to
Yeah.
things being weird again.
Shout out to Two Point Museum. Another announcement around Gamescom that I am personally hyped for. Can't wait. If you haven't played the 2 Point games, check them out.
I can't get into them. I get like an hour or two, and I just kind of lose interest, or like the tutorial, I can't, like I get stuck, or I did something wrong.
So
I want to like those games. I really do. I
that's how I
probably
was
need
with Hospital, and I didn't play it
to.
again. I got into Campus when it came out because it was on Game Pass, and I no life that for 2 months, got all the achievements. Like that was my jam, and I don't know why or what was different, but it was like the prime get in, turn your brain off, set up a bunch of goofy
Interesting.
shit.
Yeah, you wanted to run a campus.
Yeah,
So who knows? Maybe I want to be a curator of a museum.
be excited. I'm excited.
Did they announce that for Game Pass? Or is that like a
I don't
I could
think
look
Game
it up.
Pass. I think it was just reveal trailer announcement trailer so far.
Gotcha.
But moving on, we've been playing 2 games at least. How's Arco going?
Arco. Yeah. So I've been playing Arco. Full disclosure, I got a code gifted by Papa Agenda from Panic for a review. So shout out to them again for giving me that. Arco is a tactical turn-based RPG action strategy adventure game with a fun and challenging simultaneous turn-based combat system and a beautiful pixel art style that is backed by a hell of a score. I love this music. They put the soundtrack on Spotify, instantly saved it. It's just a fun vibe. The combat music scares me though, because it like pops up and it's like intense. Uh, but yeah, it's kind of a side-scrolly pixel, not side scroll. It's a pixel art game. You kind of will load into a zone. You're able to move within that frame, and then you'll go into your map and you can choose the next one. Kind of like following lines on a map you'll go through. But this
Screenplay.
game is really fun. This game is really fun. It's difficult. The combat has been kicking me at times. The tactical strategy side of it is tactical and does require strategy. You don't have a ton of health, and like they'll do like 1 to 2 damage of you. So when you have 5 health and there's 4 enemies, all of a sudden you're can instantly just get dropped and die. So there'd be times in the combat encounters I'd get stuck and frustrated, but you just have to stop and use your cursor, or if you're using a controller, like move the clicker thing over to hover over an enemy type and they'll show you what they're doing. Like toads will jump up in the air, and then if you hover over them, it'll show you the path and where they're going to land. And that goes for every enemy, and that goes for a lot of the info on the screen. There's like characters with revolvers, and they'll shoot 3 bullets at you, and then when they're in the air, you can hover over them and see the path they're taking, so you can kind of angle out of that. So you do, because you do take turns at the same time. So everything's frozen, everyone's stuck, and as soon as you make your move, all the other enemies, or sometimes you're teamed up with other people who aren't attacking you. So everyone moves at once. So you just had to slow down and take it there. There's skill trees for each of the characters, which each character kind of started off with more of a melee focused or more of a ranged focused, essentially. But you were able to spec into stuff if you wanted to, and spec loosely. It's not like a crazy deep system, but it's deeper than I expected, and was like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I do want to like unlock this tree. I need to unlock so I can get a ranged weapon, because man, I need a ranged like for this one melee character, you know. And once you unlock that, it's like, oh, nice, go. So I've really enjoyed the combat so far. I'm in Act 3. I'm not done with it yet. About what is it, about 8 hours in, I think. Yeah, 8 hours in.
When
I
you
just wasn't. Oh, go for it. I was burping.
no, you're good. When you say like characters have skill trees, are you running a party or are you just like one person at a time and it changes in between chapters? Or
One person at a time changes between chapters or between acts and such. So
okay,
yeah, there are times where you can invite people to your party. So then you're able to kind of upgrade them and give them items and whatnot. But you're essentially playing one character at a time so far. But yeah, there's something about the art style and the music that just kind of really works together for me. And kind of when you just take a step back and look at it, it's like, oh, this is like really, really stunning. I think art for a pixel game, and then the music just kind of fills in this ambiance and such of, and really sets it into the like a Western genre. The story is it has 3 distinct stories so far. I think they all will. I'm not, like I said, I'm not done with it. It's
Mhm.
kind of hinting that I kind of see how they all can coincide together, which will be interesting. Um, but each is like about revenge. You know, you have a past that you're not really sure about, for each of your characters, and they're trying to overcome stuff. Uh, I really like it. There were one moment specifically reminded me of a moment in Red Dead Redemption 2 where you
Ooh.
kind of are just riding on your horse and music starts playing. There's a moment where you kind of beat the boss and then it takes you on, it kind of controls you for a little bit and music plays and there's lyrics to it. And it's in Spanish, so I gotta look up the lyrics because I bet there's some like hints to what the story is saying too. Um, but that moment was cool. It's like, oh man, this is like Red Dead. That's so cool. So obviously not 100% the same thing there, but it definitely invoked that for me. I was like, hell yeah, I dig this and such. So I'm excited to keep playing it. Like I said, it was harder than I thought. I thought I'd be able to beat it by today, but there's just like, yeah, a couple combat spots I keep hitting my head on. There are also real quick, there are areas I got a secret ending and it had me, and that was the game. The game was like, and then it gave me a retry screen. And I really love that. There's also moments where like there's humor in it too. Some of the dialogue options would be like using text speech, like squinty face, like, oh, okay.
Oh
There's one
God.
moment where it's like, do you want to cry? You want to scream? And it was like, no, I don't want to scream. I'm in the forest. Like I did no scream. And then it did like, I don't even know how to show you it, but it just did like dash, angle line, dash, 0, 0, angle line. And it was like someone with their hands up to the side, like, I don't know. And that
Oh
was the
yeah.
response. And I was like, hell yeah. Like that's so funny. So there's a little humor like that within it. There's a ton to explore. You get a ton of items. It is like I said, it's surprisingly deeper than it looks and a ton of fun. And I'm excited to keep playing it because I feel like Act 1, it ended early for me. I could be totally wrong about that. But even the fact that I feel that way and in the later acts, I know like, oh, I made a choice and that locked me out of this. So I'm looking forward to going back and playing it to see if I can, what changes and what not. It's only $20. It's on sale right now on Steam. Go give it some love. This seems like the perfect handheld game. I don't have a Steam Deck, but I wish I did to play it. It is on Switch as well. So if you're wanting it on handheld, it's there. But definitely give this game some love. It is really, really fun.
It's just PC and Switch right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like on Windows, Epic, or like Steam, Epic, and Mac, and then on Switch. I would imagine it eventually coming to some other consoles. I could imagine Sony and Xbox, one of them putting it on their sub service if the studio's down for that. It's that good to me. I think it's one of these little gems that are like, oh hell yeah, like this is fun. I saw someone on Twitter who reviewed it say it's like it's innovative yet nostalgic, and I completely agree with that. It does have that vibe. I think the tactical stuff is innovative. The combat is innovative in a lot of ways, but man, there is just some comfortability and nostalgia within it. And maybe that's the art style and the music. I don't know, but fun.
It,
I enjoy it.
it's definitely art style that in a time where a lot of indie games are based off of what like developers played as kids, I feel like the real simplistic 8-bit stuff kind of got passed over real fast. The last one I
Yeah,
can remember playing was, I think it was a Games with Gold title back in the day called Dear God, and it was very similar to this, except it was purely side scrolling. And
mm,
yeah, there's a certain spectacle you can get with such limited art resources and people the way they work around that to make character designs or land or details. Like there's something special about the minimalistic approach to it.
yeah. Well, I think especially too when you get to the like in combat, it's more top down, kind of controlling it that way. But then when you're traveling between and exploring and talking to people, it takes more of a side scroller type thing, and you get some cool landscape uh, shots of with the art and kind of that's where I was like, dang, like because when you really sit back and look at it, it really is beautiful. So it's a small team of 4 people that live all across the world. I think there's like a Polish artist, a Spanish composer, um, Australian the developer, and then one other. I'll pull it up in a minute, but they were not all in the same spot. So I thought that was cool. It's just a small team, 4 people, and this is what they came up with. And man, it's fun.
Yeah, I was looking up. It seems to be all of their first games, except one of them previously worked on a game called Gut Whale.
I love that.
Sounds super metal.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, hope this succeeds. Yeah, first time developers like doing something
Yeah, and
so
then
unique.
industry veteran Antonio Fayer. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, just a group of people that found each other in 2021, and this is what they came up with, and very, very fun. And especially this is their first thing. Excited to see what else they can do.
That's been the theme this year, honestly. Like so many games and devs and stuff that we've played, like Dungeons and Hinterberg, same thing. First game, cool. Let them let them cook on whatever the next step is.
I know, yeah. Like it's crazy that I mean, depending on the ending of Arco and my time with it, but like so far, I mean, I got two contenders for me personally. It's Arco and Dungeons of Hinterberg are easily in the top five of my game of the years. And it's like that's wouldn't have thought that. So I'm enjoying getting out of the comfort zone a little bit and finding new stuff.
Cool, cool, cool. Glad to see you're having fun playing games. While you're out here having fun playing games, I've been out here having fun with an addiction.
Oh, I thought you were gonna I thought you were setting up something with Indiana Jones because that's what's on the screen.
No, no, that's
I was like, where are you going with this? How did like?
Indiana Jones
Yes, you
addiction.
have had an
No.
addiction.
Yeah, it's dude, I don't know why that's there. Uh been back on the World of Warcraft train. I feel like I mentioned this last week, got back in. Last year when I again forgot I bought the next expansion a year ago. I was dumb and bought the special expensive one, so I got early access, which it's a good thing I got it when I did, because that would have been a waste. So yeah, I've been since Thursday, been playing the War Within. Again, this is Warcraft's first step towards the current end, chapter one of the next three chapters of whatever they're working towards, still yet to be seen. Having, I don't want to say a blast, but I'm having a good time. It is hitting all the notes that I want to experience when playing WoW or just an MMO in general. I mentioned before how the sense of community is back. People are excited again. People are coming back and just joyful to be playing, which is sad to say, but the game has very much been a by the numbers, min max nightmare for so many years that people just having fun in it again is exciting. Um, I am currently, if I had to guess story wise, about 40% through. There's four new zones. I am completely through one and almost done with the second. Uh, that will continue on through the expansion's life cycle. They do updates whenever major patch notes updates that add either a new zone or what have you, but that all could change with how they're doing shortened time in between expansions as well, so that's yet to be seen. The core of what WoW is hasn't really changed. Like if you're coming back to this expecting a whole new gameplay mechanics or whatever, that's not really here. There are a few. Um, if you skip the last expansion like me, they've added dynamic flying, which is really cool. It is momentum based, where instead of hitting spacebar to go up in the air and you just go wherever you want, you can actually do dives and get speed boosts from that and pull back up and get higher elevations. Or it makes the traversal more of a game mechanic than just mindlessly getting from point A to point B. Um, Basic quests you would expect in an MMO: kill 10 of these, collect 5 of these, do this, do that. Those are still here, and I don't think those will ever go away. But they've opened it up to, hey, you came to this brewery that's being attacked. Instead of telling you to go kill X amount of these or save these barrels or whatever, they now have it open where it's, hey, go to this zone. You can kind of see on the map here on video, they have an outlined thing. And everything you do in that circle adds to the percentage of completion. So you can kind of pick and choose how you want to do tasks now. If you do want to focus on the kills, if you want to focus on collecting stuff, if you want to focus on rescuing people or collecting resources, all of that individually adds to your completion percentage. So it kind of opens up how you want to play through the story a little more. Just yeah, it's been fun. I would again, I've skipped the past two expansions, but I would say this is the strongest they've been side quest wise in probably 10 years. There was one quest in the first zone that you meet a race of people that they're dwarfs, but they're made of stone. They're programmed like computers where they have directives of how they're supposed to live their life and what they're supposed to do. And you meet one and his caretaker, and his essentially memory unit is failing, and he essentially has like dementia and Alzheimer's. And you're going around helping him become reaccustomed to things he used to enjoy. And at one point, he gets scared because he doesn't recognize you were his caretaker and runs off. And you got to go find him, and you're helping him get set up to pass on. And that storyline was like, oof. I've seen multiple people hit on it, but it is so good and so engaging, and not something I was expecting from World of Warcraft in 2024. As someone who's dealt with that personally, and I see it every day I go to work and see how that affects families, and having it played out in such a respected and well mannered way in a game like WoW was really cool to see.
And that's a side quest, right?
Yeah, complete side quest. You
That's
can
cool.
completely skip it. There is the main quest if you're on video. This top one on my list here with a shield are your main campaigns. The rest are all completely optional. So yeah, it's something you can completely skip over and never experience. And it's probably I think 9 or 10 quests deep of how long it is. So yeah, it's the side quest top of their game. In the early access, a lot of the end game stuff is blocked off. I mentioned to you earlier, um, mythic rating, mythic dungeons, raids. All the end game stuff is not open yet. I think it is tomorrow when it officially goes live. So that kind of stuff I haven't experienced. I'm not even max level yet, so I wouldn't be able to talk on it anyways. But where it's going and the storylines are setting up, it feels good. It feels more focused on this is the Warcraft story we built 20 years ago. This is where we wanted it to go after being so off the rails recently, and going to the afterlife and going to this place that you didn't know existed that we just needed to make up to save time. Like, it's a feel good. I don't want to say Warcraft's back because it hasn't got anywhere in 20 years, and it shows why. Like, it's having a good time.
It's good that it's hitting though, you know, like I think when my comparison is Destiny too, obviously. Uh, you know, when Lightfall came out, it was like, oh, it's cool, but I even then it was like, I don't think this is really gonna keep people, and it didn't. Whereas, you know, Final Shape had a lot better sentiment and did hold on to people a little bit longer, but then it dropped off pretty hard. So it's cool to see that this is at least, you know, hey, this is there's here, like good changes, especially since they've already been open with like, hey, this is the beginning of the next what, like the 3 part chapter, like this is part one essentially
Yep.
of their next
First of
three
three
stories. So,
expansions.
you know, I think that makes a lot of sense. So that's cool to hear that it's kind of hidden off in this way, and hopefully, you know, can keep that momentum for the next couple ones, or at least until they end their story that whatever they're telling here.
Mm. Um, if anyone's on video, I needed to save this to show you, just because it made me think of your Bioshock moments. I found a
I know I
chest
hate
with
it.
this
I'm like
minigame
stressed out.
of the pipe puzzles in Bioshock they had. I was like, oh, what? And
Dumb.
there's a lot of, if you're a person, I'm not in a guild right now. Like, I've completely been playing solo. One of the new gameplay mechanics they did add that I'm a big fan of are delves, which are a one person thing as far as I'm aware. And each season of the or each season of the game, however long that goes, there will be a storyline NPC who has reasons to be going to these essentially single player dungeons, and they act as your party team that you would normally have in a regular dungeon. So for me, being a warlock, I got good damage. I have no real way of sustaining myself against bosses or elite monsters. So Bronzebeard, this season's NPC, I can spec him into a healing class and give him abilities that help out with that to keep me going in these single player experiences, which I found really cool so far. There is, I believe, 12 tiers of difficulty. Um, in pre-release, you only get the first 3 unlocked if you can do the previous ones. Tier 3, I'm getting absolutely wrecked. So I'm curious to see how that goes when I get to like 10, 11, 12, and how you have to kind of play around that. But it's a new fun option for single player people, which I know a lot of us are because they don't have the time to dedicate to a guild or whatever. And even deeper on that, dungeons, which usually are 5 player, they've given you the option now too of NPC party members. So I did a dungeon and it gave me 4 named NPCs you see walking around the capital city day to day, coming along with me on my journey. One's a healer, one's a tank leading the way. You can tell him when to pull a boss or do mobs, or they're off doing their thing and you're just kind of going along for the story as another way of experiencing it. So they're making it the main gameplay mechanics more, I don't want,
Accessible, it sounds
yeah,
like.
accessible. I didn't want to say player friendly because it does take away from the community aspect of it, but it gives you the option if it's not something you're comfortable with, which especially
Yeah, or
coming,
maybe you just don't have the time, or none of your friends are online, and
yeah,
you're like, oh, I just got to do that thing. So having the option to do it and not be like, oh, well, you're by yourself, or you can't even do it. Like, hey, why not have some NPCs? Might not be the best way to do it, but if it's good enough, like, that's cool.
yeah, and it's purely tied to dungeons. It's not, you're not going to be doing, you can't do mythics on it, which mythic is their tiered levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 20, whatever difficulty boosters. You can't do those obviously, so it is purely just for the story side of things.
Mm,
So
I like that.
yeah, it's been good. I'm happy to be back. I mentioned before my old guild mates from 10 years ago got back on, like talking to people again. It's been an experience. I'm happy with it. I'm happy to be playing it again. I mentioned to you before we started, I've just become a full time WoW creator now. If check out the YouTube, we got guides on some hidden pets and toys. Uh, yeah, it's just fun. Congrats to Blizzard. Kudos to Blizzard. Kudos to that team. I'm excited to see where this continues on, how long this expansion is going to last. Uh, Usually, I believe the average time in between was about 2.5 years, and I could, the way they've been talking, I could see a year, year and a half at most now before the next one already. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance that and release schedules of things. But we're here, we're seeing it through. The War Within is live tomorrow for everyone else to join in on.
Yeah, that early access still blows my mind, but it doesn't seem like that big a deal at the end of the day.
No, like I said, if they had like you could do mythics and raids and get end game gear, then I would have a problem with it. But it's pretty much just leveling, which I wish they would fix leveling. Slight complaint. Like I said, I'm almost through 2 of the 4 zones, and I'm already level 77 of 80. So I will be probably max level by the time I start zone 3, and then you're just kind of going through the motions of things again, and not really getting upgrades or that feeling of power increase. So curious to see if that changes how I feel going through the quests. But if the side quests and stuff hit as hard as they have so far, that'll be okay.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Warcraft 2 on console, please.
At some point, you gotta know. You'd imagine.
It's there. I could plug in my I could plug in my Xbox controller beside me right now into my computer and I could play WoW with the controller right now. They have the UI setups, all the button icons are there. It's fully, you could do it. They just need to get it on a different box.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, I'd imagine they're working on it. It seems like what you would want to do anyways. Uh, on every console, not even just Xbox. um, but if you can get it, why not? Like more accessible. But we'll see. Maybe it is one of these things that now we're keeping it PC. Uh, we'll see. I did Xbox Insider. They had I was able to opt into the New World and Turnum beta, closed beta on Xbox, and I can't say too much because I think I can't. But I had fun.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
I think
interesting.
an MMO can work on. I think there's no reason it can't be on a console. Very different than what WoW is, but at least in combat wise and like what you're doing, you know.
Final Fantasy 14 is prime example.
Oh yeah, Sam. There you go. So
That's
it's only a matter of
way
time.
more similar gameplay style to WoW than that the new
That
one
makes
is.
sense.
That's on PlayStation. It's on Xbox now. Like, it can happen. It's just such a hard sell with that monthly subscription. I feel because that sucks.
It is true, actually. The resource and time to the payoff, is it even worth it? Especially, I mean, maybe if they get to the end of these expansions and then it's on other places. But who knows? That's in the future.
The future, I suppose. Do we want to? Since you brought it, I completely forgot I had this pulled up. Do you want to talk about the last news thing fast?
Oh yeah, no, the
Okay,
biggest thing.
the biggest thing. It's the biggest. I forgot already. It's such.
It's not the biggest thing, but it's one of.
If you're on Twitter, it's the biggest. This was also Gamescom. We got a new trailer for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Cool. Troy Baker's here doing Troy Baker things. More combat. More yada yada. Um, and a trailer. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle coming to December 9th to Game Pass, Series X, Steam. Spring
Which sucks.
2025 on PlayStation.
Why are you sounding sad?
I don't. So what part sucks about the December 9th?
I wanted it earlier.
Okay.
December feels like post Black Friday. It's just like, here it is.
It's a weird
Remember
move, right?
Avatar? I don't remember
I don't remember
Avatar.
either. It cuts it off. It cuts it off of the Game Awards discussion. Like, it's a weird move
Yeah,
for sure.
no one's gonna remember it, but who knows? I mean, I'm still excited for it. I like Indiana Jones as a IP. I like the movies. I love the ride. I this doesn't visually. I think it's a hard game to sell. Anything first person like this, I think, is hard to sell sometimes and hard to not hard to sell, hard to show off. Uh, every now and then, but yeah, the big thing, spring 2025 PS5, which again, my opinion, Bethesda and Activision games will be going whenever they want. And it sounds like this was already supposed to be multiplat, so not much has changed, seems.
No, and
But of
that's
course, the discourse is everywhere. But come on,
yeah. I'm fully on board with you for the Bethesda Activision stay doing whatever you want to do type stuff. It just the way they announced it was so incredibly tone deaf and slap in the face to just fucking everybody on Xbox side of things. If you weren't watching
I,
Gamescom live, they very much treated it as like a one more thing announcement. And everyone's like, oh, okay. Like, that's a weird thing to do, but
yeah, I didn't like how Jeff did that. It very and then like I don't know. It definitely felt odd and felt like, haha, we got something, and this we all know how you're gonna feel. And it's like, I mean, okay, just like it's coming spring 2025. Cool. Why is it not ready right away? But that's fine. I guess this is how Xbox is going to be doing it. Timed exclusives. That's the word. I just wish they'd be transparent about it and just tell us. But again, they want to reserve the right to do what they want whenever they want. Right? I'm sorry. How many people are going to play Indiana Jones and not pay a penny other than their monthly subscription? And then in spring, how many people are going to pay $70 for this game? One of them makes more money.
mm-hmm.
So it makes sense from a business perspective to put it on there. I do full. I mean, we're just reiterating what we've talked about, but I do think pretty much everything is going to be multi-platform for everyone eventually. It's just a matter of time, not day and date, but just time. You know?
Yeah. It again was just again for every other podcast we've done this year, messaging. And if they did this trailer, gave you the release date, and then like the next day on the live stream, or in a press release announced the PlayStation thing, I don't think this would have gotten as much shit online as it has. But being
I feel
presented on a big stage the way it was is where people were like, okay, I'm gonna hop on board this
I'm
and make this my priority for next week.
I'm sorry, you're saying Xbox hiding the fact that they're putting on PlayStation and putting it in a blog post would have been better?
Yeah,
No matter I okay, fair enough. But no matter what, anyone can twist it anyways. That's all it is it's there's been a lot of interesting takes and of it, but it's just a different time. It's a different market, it's a different industry to a degree. I mean, yeah, that's just what it is. Especially if you're paying a ton of money for the IP license, which we have to assume this is expensive. We saw with the Insomniac leaks how
mm-hmm.
expensive Marvel is very different than Spider-Man is very different than Indiana Jones, but it's Disney still up there. So
Disney don't play.
I mean, like that's the thing. Like take it out. Like Indiana Jones is multi-platform. Oh, okay. Starfield is exclusive. Okay. Like it just makes sense to me. Of course, hey, grifters got to grift.
Starfield on PlayStation by end of 2025.
Please, yeah. Take a year old game. I'm playing the expansion.
Yeah.
And then when I get the next expansion, then the next year, yeah, play the year old expansion. It's great, isn't it? Like I'm playing the other thing now. People think there's nothing to play. There's so much to play.
There's so much to play.
I can wait.
The backlog
And if they're gonna buy it for $70, please fund the next expansion, please.
Buy it for $70 plus buy the DLC over there as well.
Exactly. Please do.
I was surprised by the DLC announcement. This would not have been a game I would expect to get a storyline DLC.
It makes me hopeful.
The Order of Giants, it is called. Yeah, it that they have more grandiose plans for it. I would never have threw a dart and guessed DLC for Indiana Jones.
I don't think most people would have thrown a dart and said Indiana Jones is a game. But when you see Machine Games, you're like, okay, I get it. I see the pieces. It's like Insomniac when they made Spider-Man after like Sunset Overdrive. Like, oh yeah, I see the pieces. Let's see what happens. It's like, oh, I see what they could do here. Machine Guns loves and makes great games about punching Nazis. What's Indiana Jones about? So it makes sense. It's just, is that gameplay going to hit? And I think it is. And it just needs a good story. That's all it really needs. I trust Troy to at least give some type of a performance, Like it's going to be a good performance, and I'm okay if that's it.
Shout out to the collector's edition as well. This globe is real cool. Yeah, just think, we're getting Indiana Jones 2024, and there's a possibility we're getting Bond 2025. And it's like, games are cool, man. Games are so cool. That James Bond game needs to come out.
Oh no, take your time. No rush.
Give me something. I just want recognize that it exists, because I don't even think we have that yet.
Game Awards. You're gonna get that music. You're gonna get Daniel Craig maybe walking out. Not that he's gonna be the person in the game, but like Jeff Keighley loves his people, loves his celebrities, and if a big, I mean, imagine if that Bond game is you're playing as Daniel Craig Bond. Oof.
Let them cook.
Ooh. I haven't played a Hitman game, but but again, I see the elements and like, oh, that makes sense. All right.
With that, we're gonna wrap it up. You got anything you wanna promote this week? Got going on?
I'm gonna be finishing up Arco and then doing a full review that I'll post and get that week. Week's been fun, so behind on that, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
And that's Kyle the Fish 30 on YouTube. I'll be honest, this week we're just doing more WoW. This weekend I hit like full middle school degenerate mode again, and oof. So yeah, I expect.
No, it's healing. You need to every now and then.
It's healing. So my back hurts, my wrist hurts, my hand hurts. So yeah, more WoW streams, more guides probably if those come up. I've been using it as a way to learn DaVinci Resolve for video editing in the future. So that's why those have been coming up. But yeah, more WoW streams. This week I believe we got Nintendo Direct tomorrow. They just announced two Nintendo Directs: Partner Showcase and Indie Showcase. So we'll probably talk about those next week. Maybe do reactions on the channel. Until then, we will catch you all next Sunday, same time. Happy gaming, be good to each other. See you next week.
Bye.